would you mind come here and sharing your testimony?
Good morning. I kind of had a feeling that Jarrett was going to pull this on me this morning. Much like Jarrett, I grew up Catholic as a child, and I mean, I was close to God as far as I knew. You know, I knew Him here, but that was about it. After I turned 18, I joined the Marine Corps, and when I was stationed in California, we were always taking trips to Anaheim to go to Disneyland and stuff like that. And it always seemed like the Christians they knew what time the bus from 29 Palms got there. And they'd be waiting for us. You know, it's like, you know, are you saved? Have you given your life to Christ? So it's like, well, I'm Catholic. You can't get any more Christian than that. You know, it's like, yeah, I know who Jesus is. I know what He did for me. But like I said, I knew it here. I didn't know it here. And I bounced back and forth with the Lord for many years until December the 2nd, 1994, when I met my wife. And the first thing she told me was, well, we jokingly, I had said, well, who is now our oldest daughter, was getting married. And so jokingly I said, well, since we're going to Vegas and she's getting married, why don't we get married too? She said, well, I can't marry you. You're not a Christian. Wait a minute, I'm Catholic. You can't get any more Christian than that. And so we got there, and the night before, she didn't tell me this until after we had gotten married. Her and my oldest brother-in-law, who is now with the Lord, claimed that they audibly heard the Lord speak to them, and I firmly believe it. And she said that night before we left, she felt the Lord telling her it was okay for her to marry me, because I'm going to use you to bring him to me. And I went, you know, and then we got married January the 10th, 1995. And from then till June 25th, 1995, I went to church with her. I tried to understand her faith better. And at the time, the pastor's wife, who taught the adult Sunday school class. And so we're getting ready for Sunday school. And the passage was the first 14 verses of chapter 1 of John. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I know this. And Dee's like, oh, you've read this? No, I know this verbatim. It's recited every single Sunday in the Catholic Mass. And I recited it off, and she's just kind of like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. And like I said, I grew closer, but I never surrendered. And there were several times when she'd be off, because she worked as a manager for Russell Athletics in the village of Oak Creek in Arizona. And she had been off several times. She had been offered management positions. And she'd be working on the Sunday, and she'd be like, well, okay, I need you to go up and ask for prayer for this decision. I'm like, okay. And conveniently, every single time, I forgot. And this one particular Sunday, it was June 25th, she says, I need you to go up and ask for prayer, and I need you to not forget it this time. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get out of this. So I went with our oldest son, and I nudged him. I says, Mom needs you to go up and ask for prayer for her job. And he goes like, I'm not going up there myself. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get out of this. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this. So I went up, because every other time I had thought about it, Satan kept talking. Is like, if you go up there, they're going to think you're accepting Christ, and they're going to know it. They're going to see every single sin you have. And so I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I went up, And I says, Dee asked me to come up for prayer because she had a job offer, and she wants the Lord's will in it. And it was almost like I heard this little voice in the back of my head going, well, you're already up here. 6 years in the Marine Corps, even to this day, I still battle with a slight touch of arrogance, with a few, the proud. And so I said, well, and the pastor's like looking at me like, okay, is there anything else? I'm like, well, I've been trying to do this on my own for 31 years, and I've just been not doing a very good job of it. I need to give my life to Christ. And this is the part that Jared loves. So we're praying, and I had seen several other people in the church who had given their life to Christ, and Pastor Ken Miller, is like his face literally would just light up. And you knew, okay, they just gave their life to Christ. And so a part of me wanted to look up and see that expression on his face, but I couldn't. How many of you have ever seen Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade? Okay. The scene where Indy is going through the trials, and the first trial is only the penitent man shall pass. The penitent man shall pass. The penitent man is humble before God. He kneels before God. And the thought that was stuck in the back of my head was, if I look up, I've just surrendered my life to Christ. I'm not going to be looking up into the face of Ken Miller. And a servant does not look into the face of his master. And I could not look up because I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be looking up into the face of Christ. And a servant doesn't look into the face of his master. And I could not look up. And I've been walking with the Lord since. I've done youth ministry for 31 years. Lord knows why. But I mean, that's where the Lord had put me. And when I first started, it was horrifying for me because I had 3 of the pastor's daughters and 2 of the music director's daughters in my class, all of whom had been Christians longer than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to teach them, and I'm like, okay. So, as I said, I've been doing this for 31 years. I can't see myself anywhere that, other than where he wants me. In fact, it was by his grace that we wound up coming here from Arizona, because there had been several times when we had thought about moving, and so every year CenturyLink would offer a severance package, usually around the first of the year. And my son-in-law had been offered a position at a church in South Portland. And so we were praying about it. It's like, well, maybe we're supposed to move. And nothing came up that year. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just have to wait till next year. And so Dee's like, well, I feel like the Lord is calling us to minister with them, so we need to go. I'm like, okay, well, they're moving in July. So, this isn't, I said, so first we were planning, okay, I'll just stay with our oldest son in Arizona and keep going to work until the following year. Hopefully they'll offer it again, and then I could come out here. And she was going to leave with Bobby and our daughter, Rebecca, and head out here. And I thought about it. I'm like, I don't feel right about that. So it's like it was a Wednesday night we were praying. I says, I just don't feel right about that. I don't want you traveling across the country on your own and me be here. So I think we should wait, until we know clearly that this is what God's calling us to do. We prayed about it that night. The next day I had to go into work early because we were doing hot work. So I showed up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the guy I was working with says, oh, Danny wants us to call, our boss wants us to call him when we got in. I'm like, why would he want us calling him at 4 o'clock in the morning? So we get on the phone, and it's like, okay, what's up? He goes, oh, I forgot you guys were coming in early. He said, I just wanted to let you guys know that they're offering another package. And I'm like, okay. Bill, who I was working with, is also a Christian. And I was just standing there with my mouth open. He's like, what's the matter? I said, my wife and I just prayed about this last night. So, here I am. Thank you for your time.
Hey, hold on.
Back to you.
There's one part that you didn't tell me about. So when the pastor saw you before him and you're down.
Oh, yeah. So about a month later, Satan was just, I mean, right after I gave my life, I decided, okay, I need to get into the Word and I need to learn I just wanted to devour everything I could get my hands on to learn about Christ and how to follow Him better. And Satan hammered me bad. It's like, you did not give your life to Christ. You're too stinking arrogant to do something like that. I'm like, so I went to Pastor Miller and I said, okay, I'm really getting slammed. I said, he's got me questioning my salvation. And he said, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you gave your life to Christ. He said, because I understand, being a Marine, you have a slight touch of arrogance, and that's something you're going to have to deal with. He said, but I literally watched you crushed in front of me when you accepted Christ. He said, so I know beyond a shadow of doubt that you accepted Christ as your Savior. He said, because your demeanor completely changed. So, there, happy?
Yes. That was one of my favorite parts. And John's a completely different man. He surrendered his life to Christ. He's a new man, new creation, and he's also my crazy Scotsman. But what shows God can use a Scotsman, right? That being said, I'll close in prayer. But when you guys get a chance, share your stories like John did. If not, go through this book. And God wants you to surrender your life fully to Him, and God can do amazing things. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. God bless you, and have a good day.